Hello guys, this is Video Psych. Anyway, we are going to talk about how to pay for and get your doll shipped. Now, some people have been asking me this lately, and so I decided to make a video on it, since I guess some people are a bit confused or maybe have never had to get anything shipped to them over the internet, like at least not something like this anyway, from a particular place, because I'm kind of thinking that a lot of people nowadays are just used to just things like Amazon, we could just kind of click on it and there it is, it's ordered. And, just services like that. So I don't think a lot of people nowadays, or at least for the younger generation at least, is maybe, at a loss for at least a moment when they first get something like this and they kind of have to do things the old fashioned way to get things shipped over for plus. But it's also kind of different nowadays because it's kind of a mix of doing things the old fashioned way plus doing it the new way, where it's like some of the process is still done with the computer, which is a newer thing versus the way we all used to do it. You know what I mean? Because, the old way we used to do it, we used to not have very much, how would I say, contact. You know what I mean? And you also didn't have very much, oh, you didn't really send messages back to each other like you're able to nowadays with manufacturers and companies. So, that's kind of a newer thing nowadays because I remember back in the 90s, things still kind of weren't like that. But anyway, but in a nutshell, it's pretty simple once you kind of get to know it. It's not a complicated thing. It's just a thing that you have to learn. And, it's not, I'm not here to judge the fact that you don't know how to do it, of course, but it's a very simple thing. So the first thing that you can do, which is a bit old-fashioned but still effective, you can actually go to the factory. That's if you're actually somehow nearby it. And I don't know, I think there are maybe some places that maybe don't really do it anymore, but there's still plenty of the places that if you go to on sites, let's say if you actually went to, let's say, a real doll site, where they make the real dolls, you could actually just go on site and just pay in cash. Just pay it all in full right there. No harm done. Then when the manufacturers are done, and again, you're lucky enough to live nearby these places, you can just go take your truck or car, just pick it up. And they won't even have to mess with packaging it, and you won't have to pay $500 extra just to get it shipped to your place by plane or something like that. But under the circumstances, here's the other options that you're more than likely going to have to do. And these are the next options here. You can also, over the internet, pay in multiple payments. Now, to, of course, do this, you have to kind of select their plan for paying in multiple payments. It could be like something like you have to pay them in 4 payments, or you have to have this thing, and sometimes with their plans where you have to pay within a certain amount of time. Sometimes they give you like 6 months to pay in full. Sometimes they'll give you a year, to pay in full, or else they'll just cancel your transaction completely and just, not even make your doll at all. But, I, of course, would recommend this for some people who maybe don't have the money at the moment, but can actually are actually paid enough to actually give this amount of money per month in order to pay it off within a year. But, do keep in mind, some of these dolls cost over $4,000. Or at least a $4,000 doll if you're paying for something like a silicone doll. That is high end. Either that, you could be paying for something else, but who knows. But the other method that you can do, and this is what I do sometimes, is to just pay in check. And I'm not going to show you an example of my checks because I don't need you guys to know my banking information. But basically, when you use a check, and this is something I think a lot of people don't think about when they use a check and they send it to somewhere. when you send it to a particular place, especially a place like this, fill out your check as usual. Just fill it out. Say I am owing this certain amount. I will pay in full. Blah blah blah. And then just sign your name. Then on the back of it, on the back of the check, write down, this check is for so and so, order. And your order can come in a number usually. Just put the order number on the back of your check. It is for this order, blah, 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 for this company. Only. Always put the word only at the end. And then just put it in an envelope, send it to them. It'll take about another week, but it just depends on what you want to do. But just so you know, it might take at least another week for that letter to get there. So it's going to take another week that you will have to wait for your doll to get back to you. But again, it's just whatever you want to do. And the next one that you could choose, you could use something like PayPal or other services like it. Now, when you use PayPal, you also might have to consult with your bank on if you can even use PayPal, because some banks actually aren't really going to let you use it. And sometimes you'll have to actually switch your bank just so you can, jack up on how much you can pay at once with your PayPal, you know what I mean? And so, of course, let's see, what else was I going to say about PayPal? Oh, yeah. The other thing you have to keep in mind with PayPal is that you have to pay for the service. So, but they do come with good, things like if you, let's say you do an online order like this, you can actually more than likely get your money back before you pay, but then you have to pay them back as well. This is kind of a pay thing that you have to deal with. I don't necessarily like it, which is why I don't really use it all the time, of course, but if you ever do use PayPal, just keep that in mind. All right, now as far as actually ordering it, so okay, we're past the process of you paying for this doll, right? Now I'm going to teach you guys how to get it shipped to your place. But first off, when it comes to ordering, you might want to think of cancellation. Now, a lot of these places like this, especially love doll places, where you have to pay a ton of money, if you are going to cancel on your order, especially when you have already paid for it in full, and for any reason, just any reason whatsoever, something bad happens in your life, you have to pay it off, as an emergency, or for any reason you just change your mind on getting one of these things and just think that, it's a ridiculous thing to get, whatever reason you have, what you need to do is that you need to cancel it soon. Lots of these places, you have to cancel it within 24 hours. 24 hours. 24 hours. So just keep that in mind. If you really want one of these things, just think about it for a moment. Try to look for a good time to order it, because you never know if there's any thought in your mind, if you feel for any reason that you can't pay for this thing yet and have other things, more important things to pay for, I would consider that before buying one of these things at the very least. So that, because if you don't cancel your order within a very short period of time, within 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, maybe, they would have already started on the making of your doll in the process. And so for you, if you take too long and you decide to cancel your doll, you're going to have to pay a portion of the price for your doll still, because of the fact that they just started the process on your doll, right? And depending on how far they are finished with your doll, you will have to pay at least a big portion of that amount. And you could easily lose up to a few $1,000s just by doing that, just by canceling your order. And yeah, I'm sure that you wouldn't be happy if you ever did that. All right. So let's say you don't cancel your order. So what you're going to have to do, which is pretty simple really, all you have to do is just wait. You just wait. Just look at how much time they recommend you wait. It could be anywhere from like a couple of months to like 7 months, depending on what kind of doll you get and what place you get it from. And just wait. And and what I do when I wait the recommended amount of time, what like I did with Real Doll, is that I waited 7 months for the doll to get finished and to get shipped. And after about 7 months, I tried contacting them and I asked, hey, how is the progress on so and so order? And sometimes you might have a hard time getting a reply from them. But normally they will at least try to contact you when you have a question, at least normally, especially if it's a legit business. So that you don't get too worried about spending thousands of dollars on a doll that might not come. You know what I mean? And they typically will say, "Oh, we'll be done with it soon. Thanks for contacting us." Blah blah blah. And then, so of course, right after that, you might get the message, "Hey, this doll is ready to ship. At what day and what time can you do this?" It's like, "Are you ready for this doll to get shipped?" And just click, "Yes, I am ready for this doll to get shipped to my place." And then it'll be like, "Okay, so we're shipping it right now." It'll then get shipped to you by plane, most likely, and hopefully you have already paid for. They might also give you the option to have some extra help when the package gets there. I, in some cases, would definitely recommend this because sometimes these doll crates and these dolls are not light. When my Real Doll got here in her crate, and yes, it is a crate, light box, I had to deal with over 248 pounds of doll and crates. And let me tell you, it was ridiculous. I almost wondered if I was going to need some help from one of my neighbors, actually, when it got there, because I didn't really have any dollies or anything. And so I was just like, oh, fuck. But I actually managed to figure out a way to kind of tip it over and just kind of, slide it into my place. I kind of got lucky, to say the least. But I know some of you will not be lucky, especially if you have to carry that crate up 4 flights of stairs or more. But yeah, man, it's not light. But in a nutshell, that's how you pay for your doll and get it shipped. I hope that this video wasn't too confusing and the way I talked wasn't too confusing. I would implore you to take a look at some of my other videos if you are interested in the doll topic, because I typically make videos on this subject, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.